I think that Nikon has one of the greatest opportunities when it comes to what is possible. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Sony has a lot of great opportunities. I think Lumix has a lot of great opportunities. Canon did amazing things last year, so I'm probably less excited about what they could do this year because I just feel like they pulled out all the stops last year. I'd be surprised if they did as much. But who I think has the greatest opportunity to do something crazy is Nikon because of the acquisition of Red. Now, we knew from the jump that was going to take a little bit of time, and we have seen slowly some of the rollout. Like, for example, we saw the fact that they brought Nikon or Red LUTs over to the Nikon system. So if you shoot in log, you can now use these Red LUTs. And as I actually made a video about it on my main channel, and it actually showcased just how good those LUTs looked compared to an actual Red camera. And so that to me was actually really exciting. But Jarrell, we got some new news from the Nikon and Red working system. Is that correct?
For the 13% of y'all that shoot Nikon, well, maybe there might be more of you because of the thumbnail. But last week we ran a poll to see what camera brands were represented here in the chat. We got Nikon, and Nikon was at 13%, but we're hoping there's more of y'all Nikon shooters here, like Brandon and I. But anyways, interesting.
Whoa. What did you just say? You said Nikon shooters like Brandon and I?
And like, you shoot Nikon?
You shoot Nikon?
I shoot
not worried about me. You shoot Nikon?
I shoot Nikon.
Clip it. Clip it now.
My Red's owned by Nikon, so we shoot Nikon. All right. So, really cool thing happened. Well, I'm going to reserve how cool I think this is. But if you guys don't know, Red has a software program that's called Red CineX. And basically, from what I can understand, because I haven't used it before, but if you're a Nikon shooter, Red CineX has just added support for in-RAW. So basically, if you shoot RAW on your Nikon cameras, you can now import that footage into Red CineX. You can transform the color space to IPP2, I believe. And literally, if you guys remember from last year how Nikon released those LUTs to make your Red camera look more like, or to make your Nikon camera look more like a Red, that's going to be helpful to you in transforming the color space. But what's also super crazy is what I think is maybe the most game-changing feature of them adding in-RAW support is you will be able to do ISO adjustments inside of Red CineX. So just like you can with a Red camera, where the ISO doesn't really make any difference on the day of shooting, it's just basically a LUT is the best way I've heard it explained. You are able to then do ISO adjustments on your Nikon camera, where if you need to bump up the ISO without any negative impact to the footage, you can now do that on your Red camera. What do you think?
So personally, I think that's insane.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for a lot of like a lot of cameras, like a lot of brands outside of Nikon, to get to RAW is expensive.
Yeah.
It's a high-end feature.
Yeah.
Like even on the Sonys, like they don't even do RAW internally, no matter how. I think maybe the Burano might, and maybe the Venices, but like the FX3, the FX6, they don't do RAW internal.
Yeah.
But you got to get to the expensive ones before you can even do RAW external via the HDMI port, right?
Yeah. And usually you have to pay more.
You usually have to pay more.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that you can get Nikon RAW on the Z6 III.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the camera that makes this like wild. Because like I don't think everybody's shooting on a Z9 or a Z8 for that matter. Like there's probably not as many people, and that's not going to be most people's first Nikon cameras. But I think the Z6 III could easily be somebody's first Nikon camera. And the fact that you could get your first camera and have access to, I'm not going to call it Red RAW, but a very similar workflow.
Yeah.
And you can learn that workflow. It kind of makes me feel like it's almost like similar to like what Lumix did with Ari. setup where you start learning the higher end workflow. But this is actually raw. It's not just a LUT, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, 2 thoughts on that. With Lumix though, that's a learn all you want, dog. That's a high building to jump off. That's thought number 1. But thought number 2, what I'm probably most excited about with this software update from Red is the marriage of Nikon and Red are bringing us all the right things. Like, I think that there was this worry a little bit that what's Nikon going to do with Red? Is Red still going to be its own company? Is it going to move too quickly? Are we just going to, like, is it going to negatively impact Red's image and those sort of things and those thought process? But I feel like everything that they have done up to this point has been really dope things for people. So whether that's the LUTs, whether it's the Red CineX, and we're going to talk about what we really want from Nikon in 2025. But I'm really excited for all of the different things that that Nikon's been doing with Red. So another cool thing that's coming out of Nikon is they just finished up the Trinity of primes. Did you hear about that, Brandon?
Yeah, they just came out with the new 35 1.2.
Yep.
And I have not gotten a chance to shoot with it yet, but I will say that sucker looks huge.
It does look big. The crazy thing that Canon nor has Sony done yet is they have not done an 85, 50, and 35 1.2.
Right.
Which is a little sad because if I'm being honest, I don't know what it is. Like, I saw this meme this past week that it's just like, maturing as a photographer means you don't have to shoot at 1.8 anymore. And then they're like, yeah, because you need to be shooting at 1.2. I got to be honest with you, as a prime shooter, man, I love me some primes. 1.2 was always, for me with Canon, kind of that holy grail. I know that they had an f1, maybe not from Canon, but I've heard some lenses being at f1 or a 0.95, f.95. But
that's a dream lens.
Yes,
they never even made that autofocus. That's a manual focusing.
Ain't nothing in focus.
You saw that zombie movie by Zack Snyder?
Yes.
Yeah. You know how that entire movie's out of focus?
Yeah.
Because it was shot on that lens.
Yes. And somebody's telling me that you are out of focus.
Because I keep leaning forward. Yeah. My focus is like set right here. So every time I lean forward, I'm out of focus. Yeah. So sorry about that.
Yes.
We don't trust the autofocus on these cameras. All right. So if you enjoyed this clip, do us a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button because we would love for you to join the community. Here, we're just a bunch of nerds who love camera gear and love talking about it every single week, which we do live at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that and you don't miss any of the other clips.